Once upon a time in the bustling city of Benaro, there lived a young woman named Eseohe. She was breathtakingly beautiful, the daughter of one of the wealthiest men in the region, a man whose name opened doors in powerful places. But Eseohe was not like other children of the rich. She dressed simply, spoke softly, and stayed away from attention. Even during her university days, she chose to live in the student hostel, despite her father offering her a luxurious apartment close to campus. Eseohe believed in humility. To her, wealth was never something to flaunt. One sunny afternoon, she was on her way to her father's company when something caught her eye: a building being demolished. Amidst the dust and crashing concrete, she saw a young man sitting by the rubble. He looked destroyed, like his soul had just been torn apart. She couldn't shake off the image, even after reaching her father's office. Something about the man haunted her, so after her meeting, she returned to the site. That's when she saw him again, standing at the edge of a bridge nearby, looking down at the wild, rushing water below. Eseohe's heart skipped. Without hesitation, she rushed to him. "Please," she cried, "don't do this." The young man turned to her, his eyes hollow and filled with pain. "There's nothing left," he said. "My dream, my company, everything is gone. That building was all I had. It was my future." Eseohe stepped closer. Her voice trembled, but carried strength. "I don't know your whole story," she said gently, "but I know this. Your life is worth more than what you've lost today. This pain will pass, but if you jump now, you'll never know what could have come next." For a moment, the man just stared at her. But something in her tone, her eyes, her calm presence, it stopped him. His knees gave way. He collapsed, back from the edge, weeping. He introduced himself as Omare, and there, on that bridge, he poured out his soul. He had worked for years to build his tech company, from nothing but grit and dreams. The demolished building was his first office, but a long-standing land dispute with corrupt officials led to a court ruling. And just like that, all his hard work was crushed in a single afternoon. Eseohe listened carefully, her heart aching with every word. She knew she had to help. She took Omare to meet her father, who, after hearing his story, offered his support. With new funding, Omare's company came back to life, and soon new investors came pouring in. His broken dream rose again, this time bigger, better, stronger. From barely surviving, Omare was now running meetings in shining glass boardrooms, and through it all, Eseohe stood by his side, steady, encouraging, loyal. As his success grew, so did their closeness. He began to see more than just a savior in her. He saw a partner, someone who believed in him when he had nothing. Their friendship blossomed into something deeper. They spent evenings talking, laughing, building dreams together, and soon they became a couple. One night, after a movie date, they were walking hand in hand out of the cinema when a striking woman stepped in front of them. She was tall, graceful, and dressed in expensive clothes that sparkled under the lights. Her makeup was flawless. Her perfume announced her arrival before she even spoke. She smiled at Omare and extended her manicured hand. "Hello, Omare. I'm Lamara," she said smoothly. Omare paused, confused. "Do I know you?" Lamara gave a soft laugh, completely ignoring Eseohe's presence. "Not yet," she said, "but you will. I've been following your company's rise. I'm impressed. I believe we have much to talk about. Perhaps over dinner?" She handed him her phone, clearly expecting him to type in his number. Omare, caught off guard and slightly embarrassed, entered his digits. "I'll call you," Lamara said with a smirk before walking away, leaving a trail of her designer fragrance behind her. Eseohe stood quietly beside him. Her heart pounded. Lamara's complete disregard for her, as if she didn't exist, stung deeply, but Eseohe kept her calm. She didn't want to cause a scene. They walked to the car in silence. Omare noticed her quietness. He held her hand. "Are you okay?" Eseohe forced a smile. "I'm fine, something about her makes me uneasy. I don't trust her." Omare reassured her, squeezing her hand. "She's just business, Ese. It's you I love. Always." Eseohe nodded, but deep inside something didn't feel right. Lamara's confidence, her presence, her eyes, they carried a silent challenge. In the weeks that followed, Lamara became unavoidable. She started appearing at Omare's office. She sent him lavish gifts. She invited him to exclusive events. She called and texted endlessly. Eseohe stayed quiet at first, but one evening while they were eating dinner together, she spoke. "Omare, she's always around you. She shows up unannounced. She calls day and night. I don't like it. I feel like she's trying to pull you away." Omare sighed and set his spoon down. "Eseohe, Lamara is helping us close some major deals. She's connected. Please don't let this get between us." Eseohe said nothing more that night. But her heart had already begun to ache. Though Eseohe kept smiling, her heart never rested easy. She couldn't shake the feeling that Lamara was planning something dangerous. Still, despite the tension, Omare surprised her on her birthday. He got down on one knee and proposed. Eseohe gasped. She hadn't seen it coming. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded yes, staring at the beautiful ring on her finger. Her heart felt full, for a moment. But just then her phone rang. She picked up, still smiling, until the voice on the other end froze her in place. "We have your parents," the voice said. "If you want to see them alive, bring 200 million naira in cash. You have 72 hours, no police or they die." The call ended. Eseohe dropped the phone. Her entire body shook. Her world came crashing down right before her eyes. She did everything she could. She called her father's associates, pulled money from secret accounts, and paid the ransom. But even after she paid, there was no sign of her parents. Then, days later, another call. "Find them at the old factory near Lay Road," the voice said, then silence. Eseohe rushed there as fast as she could, but what she found shattered her soul. There, in the cold emptiness of the old factory, lay her parents' lifeless bodies, cold and still. Her screams echoed through the broken walls. She dropped to her knees, her heart tearing in her chest. Her parents, gone. Gone. The funeral came, but Eseohe was barely present. Her heart was numb. She couldn't understand how she was supposed to go on. But the worst was yet to come. Just after the burial, her uncles came knocking. They brought papers, claims, documents. They said her father left no will, so and everything now belonged to them. His house, his businesses, his cars, everything. "You should be grateful we're letting you leave with your clothes," one uncle sneered. Eseohe watched in horror as the same men who once called her their precious niece now treated her like an intruder. She packed her bags and walked away from her late mother's mansion, alone, heartbroken, and penniless. She went to Omare. He opened his door and pulled her into his arms. "You'll always have a place here," he said, holding her tight. At first she felt safe, loved, but as weeks turned into months, things changed. Omare no longer spoke of their wedding. Whenever Eseohe brought it up, he got angry. "Why are you so desperate?" he snapped one night. Eseohe felt her chest sink. The man who once said he'd never leave her side was now cold, distant, and hard to recognize. Every day brought more tension. Omare stopped caring. He stopped talking. He stopped seeing her. Eseohe tried to convince herself that maybe it was just stress, but she knew better. Lamara was still lurking, and now her presence felt even stronger than before. So, Eseohe decided to confront him. She waited for Omare to return home that evening, but he never came. She called him again and again. No answer. She stayed up all night, pacing the floor, worried sick. Her mind ran wild with fears. When morning came, Omare walked through the door, acting like nothing had happened. Eseohe stood up. "Where were you?" Omar stared at her coldly. "I don't owe you answers," he said. "I'm the man in this house. Don't ever question me again." His words slammed into her chest like a slap. Eseohe stood frozen, staring at the stranger in front of her. In the days that followed, things got worse. Omari stopped providing food, stopped giving her money. He made sure to eat outside before coming home, knowing she had nothing. Eseohe often sat in the corner of the room, hungry, hurt, and confused. She had once been the girl who brought hope into his life. Now he treated her like a stranger. Then came the night of the heavy rain. Thunder roared, the windows rattled, and suddenly, a knock at the door. Eseohe opened it. There stood Lamara. She looked untouched by the storm, her gown perfect, her hair flawless. "Omari invited me," she said with a smug smile, pushing past Eseohe and stepping inside. Eseohe stood there, stunned, then followed her into the living room. Omari sat there, legs crossed, sipping whiskey like a king. "Omari, what is she doing here?" she asked, voice shaking. He set his glass down and looked up. "She's here because I asked her to come." His voice had no emotion. "Lamara is everything you'll never be," he added. "She's staying here now. I want you to pack your things and leave." Lamara smirked and sat beside him, tapping her nails on the chair arm, looking pleased. Eseohe stood frozen. The sound of the rain outside was nothing compared to the storm inside her chest. She stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "Do you remember how you begged me on that bridge? How I brought you to my father? How we built your dream together?" Omari chuckled cruelly. "Then go ask your dead father to bring those dreams back. If he was really that powerful, he wouldn't be dead. Save your pity speech. Get out." His words sliced her open. Eseohe stood there, soaking wet, heart shattered, soul trembling. Eseohe stood frozen as she watched the scene before her. Omari and Lamara, kissing, right in front of her. Her heart clenched, but she stepped forward. "Why her?" she asked, voice trembling. "After everything we've been through?" Omar pulled away from Lamara, his face twisting into cruel mockery. "You?" he scoffed. "Without your father, you're just a burden. You bring nothing to the table. You can't even afford sanitary pads, yet you think you deserve me?" He laughed coldly and walked to the door. "Get out. Now." Then, without a second thought, Omari pushed Eseohe out into the rain. She stumbled, drenched instantly. Behind the locked door, she could hear Lamara's laughter. Eseohe stood there, heart shattered, suitcase at her feet, soaked to the bone. She didn't know where to go. She had no one left. "Omari, please," she cried, banging softly. "Please don't do this. I have nowhere else to go." Inside, Omari ignored her. Lamara stood by the window, sipping wine, smiling as she watched Eseohe's pain unfold. The rain poured harder. Eseohe looked up at the sky, her tears blending with the storm. "I wish you were here, Mama. Papa," she whispered. "I don't know how to survive this." She remembered how her father used to shield her from the rain, placing his coat over her head even if it meant getting soaked himself. He had sacrificed everything for her, and now he was gone. The world felt colder than ever. After some time, the security guard from the next compound, a kind man named Adi, saw her shivering. "Come," he said gently. "You can stay in my small gatehouse for the night." Eseohe looked up at him in disbelief. "Really?" she asked, voice barely audible. Adi nodded. "My boss traveled. The place is empty. You can rest there. It's not much, but it's dry." She followed him inside, soaked and shaking. The room was small but clean, a mattress, a fan, a stool. Adi gave her a dry wrapper, warm food, and let her settle in. Eseohe sat in the corner, grateful beyond words. This man, a stranger, had shown her more kindness in one night than Omari had in months. As she ate, she vowed, "I won't stay broken. Not for a man like Omari." Meanwhile, Omari had made his decision. He chose Lamara, not because of love, but because of her connections. Lamara claimed to be the daughter of a government minister. Omar needed funding for his new app, and with Eseohe's father gone, he thought Lamara was his golden ticket. He didn't know that nothing was as it seemed. One morning, as Omari stepped out of the house, he saw Eseohe standing outside the gate, laughing softly with Adi. His blood boiled. He stormed toward them. "Eseohe," he barked. "Look at you." His eyes scanned. Her simple dress, her worn sandals. "You're standing here laughing with a gateman? Have you no shame?" Eseohe's smile faded, not from fear, but from pity. She stepped forward slowly, and then she spoke. Her voice was calm, but powerful. Each word struck like thunder. "Do you hear yourself, Omari? You stand there, dressed in clothes bought with someone else's money, living in a house you didn't earn, and yet you dare insult me?" Omari's jaw dropped slightly, stunned by her boldness. "You threw me into the rain like garbage. You watched me beg. And now here I stand, not broken, but stronger. And with someone who treated me with more dignity in one night than you ever did in all our years together." Adi stood quietly beside her, a silent pillar of support. Eseohe's eyes locked onto Omari's. "You mock Adi and call him names, but let me tell you, it was this man who helped me when you abandoned me. He gave me shelter when you gave me shame. He gave me food when you left me hungry. And most of all, he saw my worth." Omar's face turned red. He opened his mouth, but said nothing. "You lost me, Omar. Not because of Lamara. Not because of your fake dreams. You lost me because you never truly saw me. She took one last step forward, and I refuse to let you hurt me again. You no longer have power over me." Just then, Lamara stormed out of the house, her heels clicking on the concrete. "What is going on here?" she snapped, her voice sharp. Eseohe turned, but instead of anger, she laughed, soft but clear. "Drop the act, Lamara. It's over." Lamara walked up to her and smiled. Then, to everyone's surprise, she extended her hand. "It was nice working with you, Eseohe." Omari stared, confused. "What are you talking about?" he asked. Lamara looked him dead in the eye. "You really thought I was the minister's daughter?" She laughed. "How foolish of you." Omari's face twisted in shock. "What?" Lamara folded her arms. "I was hired by Eseohe's father. Before he died, he suspected you were only with her for money. So he paid me to test you." Omari took a step back. "What? No, you failed," Lamara said flatly. "You failed miserably." Omari stood there frozen. Everything hit him at once. The betrayal, the test, the exposure. And Eseohe? She turned away, her strength shining like the sun after a storm. Omari's mouth hung open as Lamara's words sank in. You were working for Eseohe's father all along," he stammered, barely able to breathe. Lamara smirked, crossing her arms with pride. "Yes, Omari. Every move I made, every smile, every dinner invite, every sweet message was part of the plan. You were tested, and you failed." Omari stumbled backward, the weight of the truth nearly knocking him off his feet. Eseohe stood tall, her eyes clear and steady. "My father loved me too much to let me fall into the hands of a man who would trade me for coins and fake connections. He saw right through you." She took a breath. "Everything you saw, the betrayal, the riches, it was all carefully crafted, and you walked right into the trap." Omari fell to his knees, his face pale. But you lost everything to your uncles," he said desperately, clinging to whatever lie he could believe. Eseohe smiled faintly. "That's what you thought." The truth finally surfaced. Eseohe had not lost her inheritance. Her father had left a will, a powerful one, but she kept it hidden, on purpose. She allowed her greedy uncles to take a small portion, enough to distract them, while she kept control of the real fortune in silence. Every step, every choice, every silence was part of her plan. Omari's face turned gray. His body slumped. He had been a pawn in a game he never even understood. As the air hung heavy, Adi, who had watched silently, stepped forward and handed Eseohe an envelope. Inside were photos. Eseohe's hands trembled as she opened it, caught and gasped. Images. Dozens of them. Omare standing with the very men who had kidnapped her parents. Omare handing them documents, Omare talking, gesturing, like someone in charge. "No," she whispered. Her knees went weak. "You were involved in my parents' death." Her voice cracked, heavy with betrayal. "You betrayed my family. You betrayed me for money?" Omare's lips shook. "Eseohe, no, it's not what it looks like, and I didn't mean—" "Enough," she shouted. "You let greed blind you. You caused their deaths. You murdered the people who gave me life." Omar dropped to his knees. "Please. I was drowning in debt. I didn't want anyone to get hurt. I just wanted money. But things got out of hand. They tried to escape and they got shot. No more lies," Adi said, stepping forward. His voice was calm but final. "We have evidence, Omar. Call logs, bank transfers, witnesses. It's over." Eseohe turned her face away, her soul shattered into a million sharp pieces. She would never hear her father's voice again. She would never feel her mother's embrace again, all because of him. Adi raised his phone and signaled the team waiting outside. Moments later, police sirens pierced the air. Squad cars screeched to a halt. Officers stormed the house. They grabbed. Omare cuffed his wrists and began dragging him away. He screamed like a madman. "Eseohe, please forgive me, I loved you." She stood silent. Not because she was cold, but because there was nothing left to say. As the police van pulled away, Omare was gone. And then, Eseohe turned to Adi. "All this time, you were watching over me?" she asked, voice soft. Adi nodded, a quiet smile on his face. "Yes, Miss Eseohe. Your father hired me long before he passed. He didn't trust Omare. He asked me to stay close. As a friend, as a shadow. And if anything ever happened, I was to protect you." She let out a long, trembling breath. Her tears returned. This time not just from pain, but from gratitude. "Thank you," she said, her voice cracking. "Thank you for everything." Adi's eyes softened. "You are stronger than you know. Your father, he would be proud." He stepped back, letting her have a moment to herself. In the weeks that followed, Eseohe rose like a phoenix from the ashes. The will was made public. Her father's wishes were clear. Everything he owned was to go to his daughter. Her uncles, the ones who once laughed at her, who treated her like a beggar, were forced to return every stolen piece. They were exposed, shamed, and cut off forever. Eseohe stepped into her father's company as its new CEO. The media couldn't stop talking about her. From tears to triumph, the rise of Eseohe Okiro, the daughter who took back everything. Grace in the face of greed. Her humility, her strength, her wisdom, all became a symbol of true power. And Adi? He was promoted within the Special Crimes Unit and rewarded handsomely. Eseohe made sure of it. He had been her shield, her quiet protector, and now a trusted friend for life. One afternoon, as they sat in her father's office, Eseohe asked him a question. "How did you get those photos?" Adi leaned back and smiled. "A local photographer was near the old factory that night," he said. "He heard strange voices, got curious. He hid and captured it all. Everything that brought Omare down." Eseohe covered her mouth, tears falling again. She imagined her parents, terrified, alone. Adi reached over and held her hand. "They're resting now," he said, "and justice has found its way home." Eseohe looked up at the photo of her father on the wall. She smiled, not a smile of joy but of peace. And far away behind prison walls, Omare sat, a broken man. He would live the rest of his life behind bars, haunted by the choices that destroyed him. Moral of the story: in life, true character is revealed not when things are easy, but when things are hard. Let greed, pride, and lies lead your path, and you may gain the world but lose your soul. But if you hold on to integrity, kindness, and strength, you will rise again, no matter how dark the night. May we all remember, kindness is never weakness, and truth always wins in the end.